Most of the major challenges our world is facing today, climate change, social instability, economic disruption, most of these challenges are systemic. It means they are complex. It means they cannot be solved by one single government, by one single corporation, or by one single idea. We have to think differently. We have to find new ways to solve these big challenges. We have to invent new approaches, different approaches. That's what I call innovation in ecosystem. Simply said, it's not innovating alone, but innovating together. Innovation in ecosystem is just that. But it's complex, nevertheless. Circular economy, sharing big data to feed AI, trying to avoid hallucinations, deploying clean energy, deploying or scaling up autonomous vehicles. All these very different challenges require multiple players. That's why innovation in ecosystem is absolutely not simple. And more than that, you need to innovate on the way to innovate. Because if we continue to innovate the same way we have done until now, we will get the same results. Insufficient positive impact on our planet, too slow changes. So we have to train the people to connect the dots between all these different branches, industries, people, ideas. And then we have perhaps a chance to change things, really. So on the top of that, we have to better predict and anticipate our future. So let me take you back in 2010. I am employed by Michelin, a tire company. My executive committee is asking me to analyze the future of autonomous vehicles, autonomous cars. So, as a good marketing leader, I interview car makers. I interview tier one suppliers like Valeo, Forvia, Faurecia at this time. I read a lot of research on this topic. I try to meet engineering teams to better understand the technology behind autonomous vehicles. And based on that, I predict that fully autonomous vehicles, which means level 5, as we call them, so fully autonomous, you can read your newspaper in this autonomous vehicle, will be on the roads in 2025, which means now. Have you seen fully autonomous vehicles in the streets of Roubaix? Have you seen in the streets of Lille? In the streets of Paris? No. So clearly I was wrong. The question is, why? Well, the main reason is clear. I was talking to the usual suspects of my value chain. Car makers, tier one suppliers. So I was beginning to think about my recommendation, my prediction to my executive committee. So I decided to visit Orange, you know, the telecom French operator. And my question was clear. I told them, look guys, what about 5G? Can you guarantee that the connection between the car, the autonomous cars, and the infrastructure will not be interrupted. My question was clear. Their answer has been clear. The answer is no. No, particularly if we don't have enough relays and antennas around the car and around the infrastructure where you are. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's again not good for the grandmother of this gentleman. So I finally decided to come back to Clermont-Ferrand, downtown, and I modified my recommendation. I said, okay, autonomy, but only for some specific shuttles in big airports, in big factories, where you can control the environment, you can control the interferences, where you can anticipate, for example, the pedestrian path. So I learned a lot from this experience. I learned that my value chain is not really ready for disruption. I learned that these guys are reluctant to disruptions, because disruptions means changing the way we think, means changing the activities we always did. I also understood that if you wanted to anticipate much better, you had to go beyond your industry. You have to open the eyes on other industries to better understand the market dynamics of your industry. And when you have access to these other industries, you have to connect the dots between people, other industries, and managers, technology, and so on. So in 2012, 2 years after my false prediction, I created a strategic anticipation department and an open lab, inviting a lot of other companies far from the automotive industry, like Microsoft, Orange, BNP Paribas, Engie, CMA CGM, name it, Allianz, DHL, to build together the future of mobility. And I discovered something important. When you begin to think together about the future, when you begin to develop shared vision, when you begin to develop scenarios of evolution, and when you detect in these scenarios opportunities, then suddenly you create trust. And without trust, there is no innovation in ecosystem. Without trust between us, there is no co-innovation. Trust is key, but you don't create trust just having a coffee. You create trust because you work together. So we created this open lab, and then we began, because we were trusting each other, we began to co-innovate. And we have developed new mobility solutions, which the market even didn't know. I will give you some examples in a few minutes. Movin'On was born. The name of my ecosystem is Movin'On. So we continue to work together and to develop the process. So now I'd like to give you one word about this process, because it's important. The first step, as you can imagine, is creating trust through shared vision. So we decide together about the future innovation space we will build. We are trying to address this question. What are the stakes, the trends, the breakthrough events we will face in a given time horizon, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Will we be ready for that? How can we structure this future innovation space based on these stakes, trends, and breakthrough events, which could be, by the way, technological breakthrough events, legal, or social? We even developed specific tools for that because we didn't find the right tools to do it. Secondly, now that we have a clear view of the future innovation space we want to reach together, we will have different choice with scenarios. How do we go? How do we reach this innovation space from now on, starting today? And we choose again together the scenario we will share. And I can tell you something. If all the stakeholders around the table are pushing the same scenario, the scenario has a pretty good chance to occur and to happen, which is a way to influence your future, right? And third, in this chosen scenario, we detect opportunities. So quick wins, we are companies looking for value creation, but also midterm and long-term opportunities. Before being able to test prototypes, before being able to test minimum viable products or new business models, and before being able to pilot experiments on the field in the real life. So this process works. This process is building trust. So we have some examples I could mention. We obviously test this autonomous navette in different areas in the world under the leadership of an insurance company called Massif. But we also, for example, transform an old car factory into a circular economy for factory and plant for electrical vehicles in France, in the suburb of Paris, under the leadership of Renault. We facilitate the launch of Symbio, a joint venture between Michelin, Forvia, Stellantis, being today an unicorn valorized more than $1 billion and being specialized in hydrogen fuel cells. So these are some examples where we demonstrate that this process is working. When you build trust, when you create trust and build trust, you can co-innovate. So now, after this period of time, we have to admit that we still have weaknesses. The first weakness of this approach and this innovation in ecosystem process is that big corporations are more and more struggling with disruption. That's why we decided to bring them disruptions. So we bring them now startups, very dynamic one, disruptive one. We bring them sustainable solution coming from the Solar Impulse Foundation, with whom we have a partnership. They are providing us solutions who are not only robust on a technological point of view, but economically viable. We also have to admit that moderating these communities of interest is absolutely not easy. So we developed a training program to train our managers to moderate these communities of interest, which means we recruited North American academics and some European so on to develop training programs on ecosystem thinking, but also creativity, also generative AI, and last but not least, strategic anticipation. And we have also to reinvent public-private partnership. We need the public authorities in many cases, just an example, if you want to test your autonomous navette or shuttle, you need the authorization of police or the authorization of the city. But these private-public partnerships are not adapted. So we are right now testing new approaches with new financing plans, with new support plans, with new regulations derived from our work with public authorities. So we hope now to be ready to change the world with you. And it's time. I think that innovation in the ecosystem is not an option anymore. If we want to transform our societies economically, ecologically, and socially, we need to accelerate. We need to implement this type of innovation in ecosystem. And that's why we are expanding these approaches to other sectors. We are working right now with textile circularity and luxury goods. We are working in water management. We are working in buildings and material reuse. Because in fact, innovation in ecosystem is not only producing new solutions, it's changing your culture of innovation. It's learning you how to influence without any hierarchical authority. But that's probably for another TED Talk. So ladies and gentlemen, let me leave you with this. Please use these innovation in ecosystem processes. Please apply these innovation in ecosystem tools and methods. Please create around you an ecosystem to act. The planet, our planet, is not asking for innovation or cooperation. It's begging for it. It's time for us to react. It's time for us to innovate. It's time for us to innovate on the way to innovate. It's time for us to work together. Thank you very much.